Today's video is on understanding computer graphics, from computer animation to arcade games, published by Usborne 1983, written by Judy Tatchell, Les Howarth, designed by Graham Rand and Roger Priddy, illustrated by Martin Newton, Mick Giller, Graham Smith, Kuo Kang Chen, Graham Rand, Rob McCabe, Naomi Reed and Projection Photographic Services, program consultant Chris Oxlade, with programs to run. It's not currently available on the Usborne website, which is a shame because it's rather lovely, but they might put it on there eventually. Who knows? So the book is a really good introduction to how computer graphics work. Obviously written in 1983, but you've got really nice pictures and flowcharts of how the actual computers work from creating pixels, different modes of graphics, different ways displays work, how animation can work, how they work in arcade games, how they work in business, how they work in teletext, how they work in the movies, and so on and so forth. And it contains 4 games to play and type in. And it also goes into a nice little example on computer resolution, which we'll look at now. Very low resolution, 63 by 43 pixels. Black and white, 1K memory. Low resolution, 160 by 256 pixels. 4 colours, 10K memory. High resolution, 640 by 256 pixels. 2 colours, 20K memory. High resolution, 640 by 256 pixels. 4 colours, 40K memory. Very high resolution, 512 by 512 pixels. 8 colours, 96K. Very high resolution, 512 by 512 pixels. 16 colours, 128K memory. So the book comes with 4 graphics programs to run. We're going to have a look at these today, obviously, and I have actually typed these in. So I've actually given some unique content to YouTube. So 4 programs. There's the pattern generator, which either creates dot patterns or shape patterns. There's a turtle graphics program. There's an Inbetweening program, which shows how computers can be used to help with animation. You draw the first frame, you draw the last frame, it fills it in. And then there's an animated game called Backseat, which is done in both basic ASCII version and user-defined graphics version. So let's get started with the pattern generator. This is the first program, the pattern generator, which draws colourful, constantly changing patterns on the screen. You can choose whether you want the patterns to be drawn as trails of different coloured dots or shapes. These are going to be shapes. We've entered our colours, and it draws a triangle. 3 different dots joined up. First thing you can obviously see is this spectrum colour clash. Within a single 8x8 square, you can only have 2 colours, ink and paper. So obviously we've got 2 different colours of ink, therefore it picks 1. So you get blobs of colour. So you can control the flow of the screen. You press A, it moves it upwards, Z moves it down, N and M move it left and right. Q changes the direction of travel between left and right. W reverses direction of travel up and down. And you can press S to pause. When you're finished, you press space and clear the screen. So the programs are interesting because graphics are so different in every form of BASIC. So they're mostly in BASIC, but the graphics lines are in pseudocode. For example, you get move CXCY, which in Spectrum speak is plot over 1, inverse 1, XY. And so on and so forth. It's rather good. Spectrum has 16 colours, but half of those are just bright versions of themselves. It's rather charming. Round it goes. And you can let it run and it will bounce off the walls. There it goes. So this time we enter our colours. We're going for dots this time. We've gone for magenta, which is 3, cyan, which is 5, and blue, which is 1. Straight away you can see that the colour clash is less of a problem. It still is a problem. You'll see that when the dots intersect, but because there's so few dots, it still looks rather pretty. It's much nicer on a black background. Oh, there you go, there's a bit of colour clash. So you let it run, the dots bounce off the wall, you can reverse the direction, you can change the direction, you can alter the direction by angles. It's rather pretty. And again, you can pause it with the S key, and press space to clear the screen and start again. Let it run, it'll just keep bouncing off and bouncing off, bouncing off. What I've done here is doubled the speed of the playback. Otherwise, you'll be just sitting here listening to me trying to think of something to say for 5 minutes. Rather than 1.5 minutes. So again, you can just sit there and watch it, but that's basically what it does. It's rather pretty. This is Inbetweening. Cartoons are obviously made by drawing all the individual frames. You need lots of frames, 24 per second. So what this lets you do, it shows you how computers can be used to generate the frames in between. So first of all, you draw the first frame, then you draw the end frame. So here, I'm slowly drawing 2 dots. The dots are then joined together with lines. The dot is slowly pulsing. You see flickers of ghosts of dots behind because of colour clash. What the program does, it overlays the dots with white dots. Unfortunately, you can only have one colour of ink in any individual square. So eventually it sorts itself out, but you do get a bit of flickering. So I'm trying to draw a martini glass. So up we go. Gosh, the program originally supported 5 points. I said let's have 10. Make it more interesting. Once you've done all 10 points, we've gone to the second shape, which is the end result. So one of the interesting comments about in the book is if you have too much in-betweening, it can be, the animation can be smooth and uninteresting. So you can choose how many frames you want to have in between yourself, which is quite good. So here we are. The scrolling is a little bit slow. So I've now gone for a martini glass that's been knocked over. So a little bit hard to control, but it's not too bad. So now I'm now drawing the stem of the glass. Up we go. Let's finish the glass. And bosh. So we're now going to view the results with number 2. And it just asks us how many in-between frames we want. Let's have 6 frames. So it draws the original glass in the colour you choose, in which case this is cyan. And then slowly pauses, and oh dear, the glass is falling. The glass is falling hour by hour, the glass will fall forever. So computers are useful for animation. Not so useful for catching your drink before it spills on the floor. Here it goes, and there should be the final frame now. Yep, so the 5 glasses in between, which are all generated for us. How lovely. Turtle graphics. 2-stage program. In the first stage, you move the turtle or pointer around the screen to call a pattern. So I'm going to attempt to draw a simple pentagon, which requires 72-degree turns once you get started. After you've drawn it, you then get to create a pattern. So we're going straight up for 20 pixels. You have to choose a colour. I'm choosing red. I'm going to keep with red. So a pentagon requires 72-degree turns to create the 108-degree internal angle. You get up to 12 moves. You don't have to draw the line. There is an option to say draw yes, no. In this case, I am drawing the line, so it looks a lot prettier. So this is the third move. If you want to finish the move early, you just tell it to move 0. And I'm not changing colours because otherwise you get colour clash and it just gets messy. So we're now telling it not to draw anymore. We're then going to make it a pattern. Option 2. You start with a scale. You can make the image bigger or smaller. You tell it how often you want to repeat it, and you get to change the scale. So we're going to slowly redraw the picture over and over again, slightly larger each time and at a slight angle. It'll do this up to 30 times, up to the point we hit the end of the screen. This is called turtle graphics. Turtle is the logo or pointer. It's the sort of graphics used by the programming language Logo. And there's a really nice example inside the book, inside the front cover of the book. We saw it earlier. That was created using Turtle graphics. So as you can see, it's getting larger. A little bit of colour clash in the middle, but we're certainly rotating. It is getting bigger. It's definitely a pentagon. Around it goes. And when it hits the edge of the screen, we shall stop. There we are. So the last program in the book is called Backseat Bug. When you run this program, your garden is drawn on the screen, gradually filling with more and more weeds. Press the spacebar to start the game. Your first bug appears, and you can move it up, down, left or right by pressing keys. It bounces off the walls of the garden and keeps moving in a straight line. When it hits a weed, the weed disappears. You get a score for each weed you collect. If you get all the weeds before time runs out, you get a bonus score. If not, you lose the bug, another bug appears on the screen. So here the hash marks represent the weeds, and we have a little character moving around. It alternates between X and other characters in basic forms of animation. There is also an invisible hole in the garden. If the bug falls down the hole, you lose it. The hole is in a different place each time. So this is very basic ASCII graphics. But it's alright. Be more exciting if there are more holes. So there's no real danger, but I have a bonus. We'll move on to the next level. We redraw the screen, lots of weeds, little colours, and away we go. It's a simple, basic game. It's about 2k on the tape. Even hitting the walls doesn't kill you. Well, those graphics were a bit rubbish. Fortunately, the book gives you information on how to create user-defined characters for the BBC and the Spectrum. So these are letter-defined shapes, 8x8 pixels. You define them yourself. So you get a bug moving down, bug moving up, bug moving left, bug moving right, and the weed. So you design your characters 8x8 grid, and then you essentially read the data and then you poke the data into the character set. So you actually override the basic character set with your own characters, which is nice and simple. You can expand it yourself. So Backseat Bug, this time with the high resolution graphics. The game does actually have sound as well. It occasionally makes a beep at you. But the main focus of this game is the graphics. So you can see here we have the pretty weeds. We draw the garden, there's the wall, and there's our bug. So we have the 5 images of the bug. There's the bug itself being still, and then the movement of the bug, which makes it look like it's opening and closing its little mouth. So we move around, chomping the weeds. So it's quite a simple, quite effective little animation. So you get a quick look at the bug, and it moves, and we change the characters. Let's see how that actually works. Round it goes. I've now fallen into a hole. That is the invisible hole that you cannot see, which means you just lose a life. It's not enormously fair, but that's what you get. So you scoop around the board, looking for the invisible hole. So that was understanding computer graphics. It talks to you about drawing lines, drawing pixels, how many pixels you're allowed to have. Spectrum has high resolution, low resolution graphics. High res, you can plot individual pixels. We saw that on Turtle graphics. And the pointers and dots. This is relatively low resolution graphics. You've got 8 by 8 pixels. Nice and chunky. You saw how the Inbetweening worked. Also had to create your own graphics, which we've seen those before in the fantasy adventure game, but this is a nice little cover to it. So, hopefully, that was at least of vague interest. If it was, please hit like. If you want to see more of my nonsense, please hit subscribe. If not, no problem. There's lots of other good stuff on YouTube. And have a nice day. Come on, let's get the last bar. And that's the last weed. I winner is me. Thank you, and goodbye.